Can you give any example of an algorithm? Any example?
Yeah, yes, sir.
The Fibonacci algorithm, maybe Newton's algorithm to an arbitrary
And
precision,
sir, also the
stuff like that.
Euclidean algorithm, the division algorithm, by which we determine the GCD of two numbers.
Yes. Okay, the first algorithm is someone already told, that Euclid's algorithm for finding. This is treated as the first algorithm. Okay, Euclid's algorithm finding GCD, greatest common divisor of two numbers. Okay, two integers. So this is one algorithm. Example. Someone is saying Fibonacci number, finding Fibonacci, nth Fibonacci number. Okay, so that is another example. Finding nth Fibonacci number. Fibonacci, this C I probably. Check. Fibonacci number. So this is another example. Means one. If you know two numbers, this next 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 1 3, 3 plus 2 5, 5 plus 3 8. In this way, this is the sequence. You can find out the nth Fibonacci number. What will be done? You give one value, it will find out. Any other? Finding factorial of a number, n factorial. That is another example. Right. So many examples are there, many problems are there, in fact, for which you can develop different algorithms. You can design different algorithms. That's why there is another part. It's called a design. Design an algorithms for some problem. Right? Design an algorithm. Steps of algorithm. So first one is design phase. For any or phases of an algorithm, steps or phases or steps of algorithm. First phase is called design phase. Second phase is correctness phase. Whatever algorithm you have written, it must be correct. Third one is analysis phase. Whatever algorithm you write, whatever algorithm you design, it must be correct. You must design or develop a correct algorithm. Right? Now, last is your analysis phase. Suppose you have developed one algorithm, right? Like 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n. Okay. So one way is it one method exists to solve this problem? One solution method exists, or many solutions exist for solving one problem? So like 1 to n, you can add manually 1 plus 2, again is sum, you add with 3, again is sum, you add with 4, that is one way. Or you can directly use a formula n into n plus 1 by 2, right? So two methods are there. Similarly, for one problem, many algorithms exist. One can design many algorithms. All are correct. You can develop correct algorithms for one problem. Like, say, example is sorting. Another problem. Sorting is a problem. Already we know what is an array. So one array of elements are there, or list of elements are there. Your right. So one array of elements are there. Array is represented by array name. Suppose A is my array, and this is my index, fifth index, sixth index, 7, 8, 9, array, first element, second element. You put it here, 9, 25, 70, 80, right? 12, 91, 87, 1205, right? 21, say 55. So one array of elements are there. This is my input. What this problem says, you arrange these elements so that it will be either in ascending order or descending order. This is now not sorted, and you want a sorted array, right? Output is one sorted array, either in increasing order or in decreasing order, right? Or ascending order or descending order. That is your requirement. So how to do that? There are many algorithms for solving this sorting problem, right? One is insert sum sort, many logic, insert sum sort algorithm. Another is bubble sort, select sum sort, more sort. These are different logic how to sort. Okay, quick sort, right? Heap sort. There are many algorithms, topological sort, right? Or counting sort. Many sorting algorithms exist, many logic exist to solve one particular problem. All are correct logic. Then now question is, which method is efficient? That is called analysis phase. So you have written all are correct algorithms. So design you have already, you can develop those algorithms. We'll discuss one after another, right? Some algorithms we'll discuss in different classes. Now in analysis phase, your requirement is to find how much efficient your algorithm is. Means time complexity and space complexity. How much memory it takes to arrange these things. Like say quick sort and a merge sort. Merge sort uses two arrays. Another temporary array is required. That means one extra, if array size is n, so 2n is your merge sort requires space complexity is twice of the array size. Another temporary array of same size is required. Then you sort it, again you copy it. That is your requirement of merge sort. We'll discuss the exact logic, right? But quick sort, you just same, you compare and swap. With the same help of same array, you can sort it, right? So that's why based on so different sorting algorithm uses different logic. So different memories are required. Different memories are required for solving this problem, right? Just a bit. So whether you got the time complexity means how much time it takes to solve this problem, and how much memory requires to again for one algorithm. So based on this, if the algorithm which takes less time, less memory, those algorithms are preferable. We'll prefer those algorithms whose time complexity is less and memory requirements are also less. So this is what time complexity and space complexity. So these are the different phases of algorithms. These are actually the important aspect of algorithms. Other qualitative aspects are there, for algorithms. You can write the algorithm. Other qualitative aspects are there. You divide into different modules. Okay, you can well document it. You can, which you are doing in programming. Whenever you are writing programming, you are dividing into different modules. Okay, that is modularity is one qualitative aspect, right? Modularity. So those are the qualitative aspect of algorithm, but those are not important, much important in this course. The aspect of algorithms. The but in this course, our focus will be these three. How to design? That is one question. How to check my algorithm is correct or not? How to find the time complexity and space complexity of one already developed algorithms, correct algorithm. So we will answer these three questions in this course: design and analysis of algorithm. First, to design an algorithm given one problem. Okay, suppose the problem is two matrices. You want to multiply those two matrices. So problem is matrix multiplication. Then think of one logic how to multiply two matrices. Develop one matrix multiplication algorithm. Many algorithms exist. Okay, so first you design an algorithm. Then whatever algorithm you have written, you find its time complexity. First you check whether you have written correct algorithm or not. After development, check testing phase. In software industry, the same terminology is called, this is the development part, okay, and this is called the testing part, right? Testing your software is correct or not. But this is the efficiency part. We are analyzing how much efficient my software is, how much efficient my algorithm is. Efficient in the sense how much time and how much space it requires. Then after you develop everything, it works, then you can check whether how to these qualitative aspects, right? Means like well documented, right? This is one qualitative aspect, well documented. You can write the different comments that this module is for this purpose, this module is for this purpose, so that others can understand it clearly, right? Well documented. Other qualitative aspect might be modularity. Instead of writing a very complicated project, like I told you in my C programming program, that a game design problem. Everything you don't write in one complete step one, step two, everything in one particular main function, right? You divide and whenever you got those functions, those different modules. Okay, don't write everything in one main function only, right? So that is called modularity, well documented. So these are all different qualitative aspects, right? It should be readable. Readability is one qualitative aspect. Readability. You write so that others can understand. Okay, you are writing your algorithm or program for others. Okay, so that whenever you write such that anyone can understand it. That is the requirement of a good algorithm. Okay, so this is a quality aspect of the algorithm. But the important part is this. Okay, so this is actually our focus in this particular course. Any doubt up to this? Is there any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, so next what we will do, we will start our course is designed in this way, from this order, from this stage to this stage. First we will discuss how to find the time complexity and space complexity. Different notations are there. So this is one, right? Then different mathematical, because how to know that my algorithm, suppose sorting, I'm telling one example. Right? Here I have given 9 elements. You can give 9,000 elements. You can give 9 lakh elements. So how to, suppose you write one algorithm, how to know that it is always giving the correct output? Whatever input, correct output means whatever input you give, your algorithm must give you the correct output. That is the definition of correctness. Then only you can say your algorithm is correct. Not that you write one logic, you give this array, it is your output is sorted array. But if you change, you give another array, your output is different. It is not sorted. Then your algorithm is not correct. It's an incorrect algorithm. So when you are saying that one algorithm is correct means once you have designed that algorithm, whatever input you give, all possible inputs, your algorithm must give you the correct. Means suppose 1,000 test cases you give, it is giving correct. Only next you are giving another one, but it is not giving correct. Then also you are saying your algorithm is not correct. Right? So how many such inputs you can give? Can anyone tell? How many this type of array you can give? Finite or infinite? Suppose 9
I think finite, sir.
25, 70, 80, this one. How many such? Only array size is 9. I have written. Array size is 9. How many different values you can give? Finite or infinite? How many? That means how many different arrays of length 9 you can give? Finite or
Infinite, sir, then.
infinite? Only first position. How many integers you can give here? 25, 26, 27, 28. How many integers are there? Minus 25, minus 70. Only one place is infinite. It's a set of integers. Any value you can give here. Even you may write real numbers also, not an issue. So if one place, this single cell contains infinite values. Okay, so any place if you write check, the infinite inputs can be given. So can you test using a finite number of steps? You are saying your algorithm is always terminate. Okay, and input for different inputs, and this input is infinite. So infinite possible inputs are there. And my definition of correctness says for all such inputs, if your algorithm will give you the correct output, every such infinite number of inputs, infinite number of such arrays you given to your algorithm, if every time your algorithm is giving the correct output, such an array in this example, then only you say your algorithm is correct. So manually with can we test everything, all the infinite things?
No, sir.
So no person can test all these things, right? Infinite things with our lifespan, right? So there must be some way to solve this thing when we'll say that it is correct. So here the process is the proof techniques, which you know in as a mathematics student, you know the proof techniques, right? The proof techniques mostly used is the principle of mathematical induction, right? So principle, all you are familiar, or any other proof techniques, induction or other proof techniques like method of induction. Mostly this principle of mathematical induction will help you to say, to test my algorithm is correct, right? So if it is, you prove that it is working for a smaller array, then you prove that then you assume that it is working for length n, then prove that yes, it will also work for length n plus 1. That is your principle of mathematical induction. So then, or any other proof techniques, you know what are the proof techniques exist? Method of contradiction, method of contrapositive, right? Or left hand side gives you right hand side. Many or geometric construction techniques, many proof techniques are available. So you can use any one of the proof techniques for different problems, right? You can test my algorithm is correct. Next, design phase. How to develop one algorithm? Is there any way? Is there any method exist to tell that guide you that yes, you for this problem you can develop in this way. Sorting problem you use this way. Searching problem means one array is given, another element is given. You search whether that element is present in that array or not. That is one problem, right? Finding system of linear equations. Solution of system of linear equations. That is one problem. So how to develop one algorithm? How to design? Is there any way? Right. So this is in this course we will discuss some methods. Okay. So there are different design techniques like design techniques we will discuss. Broadly, the problems we can classify into different based on their characteristics. We will see which technique we will use. So first technique which we will discuss is called divide and conquer technique. So this is one algorithm design technique. Second one is dynamic programming technique. Third one is greedy technique. Fourth one is backtracking technique. Fifth one is branch and bound technique. Next, basic searching and traversing techniques. Okay, and some other techniques are also available, or you can there are, may not be in some other way you can solve also. There are other there is no name, but you can also solve those techniques. So we'll discuss some problems which are based on divide and conquer, like binary search. Some examples. Binary search, right? Merge sort. These are the problems. Different problems which we can use divide and we'll discuss in next classes. We'll discuss what is divide and conquer technique. Then some problems we will discuss based on these techniques so that you can understand what is this technique. Then quick sort is also based on divide and conquer, right? Strassen's matrix multiplication. Strassen's matrix multiplication. Right. So this is one, and many other things are there. In dynamic programming, there are problems like longest common subsequence problem. In short, it is called LCS problem. Then matrix chain multiplication problem. Matrix, the chain of matrices are there, you want to multiply. Here, longest common subsequence is a problem. Instead of here, it says there are two sequences. We'll define formally when we will discuss this particular problem, right? Two sequences are there to find a common subsequence, okay? And whose length is maximum. It's an optimization problem, longest. Find the longest common subsequence between two sequences. Two DNA sequences are there, 80 two sequences are there. You find another common subsequence between these two species. Okay, so but that is called longest common subsequence. Second problem is matrix chain multiplication problem, which is in our course. I am writing those names, right? Another is Floyd-Warshall's algorithm, or simple Warshall's algorithm, or finding all pair shortest path problem. All pair shortest path in a graph, in a weighted directed graph, or weighted or undirected also possible. In a graph, all pair, a graph is given, a network is given, or different cities are given, right? A graph theory you must have read in discrete mathematics. Here it says all pair, between any pair of vertices you find the shortest path. Many paths exist. From vertex 1 to vertex 2, find the shortest path. Vertex 1 to vertex 3, find the shortest path. Vertex 1 to vertex 4. Between any pair of vertices. Similarly, vertex 2 to vertex 1, vertex 2 to vertex 5, many paths exist to find the shortest path. We find the path which cost is less. That is called all pair shortest path problem. To solve this problem, there is one algorithm whose name is Floyd-Warshall's algorithm, or Warshall's algorithm. And the design technique used for developing this algorithm, it's known as dynamic programming. Dynamic programming is just a name, not linked with the C programming, C++. No, it's just a name, dynamic programming. Right? So I'm telling different design techniques which is in our course, and different problems which we will solve based on the individual techniques. Greedy technique, there are Dijkstra algorithm for finding, if you same graph theory problem, but this is called single source shortest path problem. The source is fixed, right? From IMA to all your individual home, I want the shortest path. Many paths exist, right? So I want the shortest path from source. Source is fixed to all other vertices. That is one algorithm is you can use, efficient algorithm. It's called Dijkstra single source shortest path problem. Okay, and another is called Bellman-Ford algorithm. That is also a single source shortest path problem, but for positive and negative weights. Dijkstra algorithm is only for positive weights, but if my graph weights are negative, right, then I can use this algorithm. There are Prince algorithm, Kruskal's algorithm. Okay. So these are some problems which we can solve using greedy. There are another problem, fractional knapsack problem. Fractional knapsack problem, right? Fractional knapsack problem. That is one interesting problem. We'll discuss when we'll discuss this greedy technique. But these are some algorithms we'll discuss using greedy. In backtracking, some problems are 0-1 knapsack problem. This is a fractional knapsack problem, but 0-1 knapsack problem uses backtracking technique. Here I am saying 0-1 knapsack problem also you can use using dynamic programming. Same problem. For one problem also 2-3 design techniques you can use. There is no harm if you can. Then this based on backtracking, one algorithm, based on dynamic programming, another logic, another algorithm. Again, for the same problem. Problem is 0-1 knapsack problem, right? So we'll define what is that problem. But just today in the first class, you see these are the problems. We'll repeat it many times so that it will be clear. And n-queen problem. You can solve this, but this is one n by n chessboard, like 4-queen problem is a 4x4 chessboard. Similarly, if an n equal to 8 is an 8 by 8 chessboard, okay, and queens are 4 queens are there, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So this problem statement says you place these queens in this chessboard in such a way that no two queens will attack each other. That no two queens will attack each other. Suppose I will place queen number 1 here, then I cannot place another queen in same row, same column, or same diagonal. Two diagonals are there. Second queen I cannot place in this row, I cannot place in this column, or I cannot place in any of this diagonal. I cannot place any of this diagonal. Right? I cannot place in this row, in this column. Other places I can place another this. Similarly, my objective in this problem is to place these 4 queens in this chessboard, right? Such that no two queen will attack each other. Here constraint is, one is row constraint, another is column constraint, another is diagonal constraint. These are my constraints. So how to solve this problem? This is called 4 by 4 problem. If it is 8 by 8 board, 8 queens, that is called 8 queen problem. In general, in 64 by 64, 16 queen problem, 64 queen problem, many. So n queen problem. Right? So how to solve this problem? This is a puzzle. So many puzzle, like 15 puzzle problem, many puzzle, any game, you can use this backtracking method. Right? Similarly, branch and bound, some problems like same 0-1 upside problem, you can efficiently solve using this branch and bound. 0-1 upside problem. And other same these problems you can also solve using branch and bound. So and you can minimize the time. So branch and bound is same type of backtracking, but that is an activation function. You explore, you go in this direction. If there is some, that with some information you explore, right? Like we know, my objective is to search where is Delhi. Where is Delhi? But one is random search. I don't know any information, but someone will give me the information that yes, Delhi is in the north side of India. So I will not explore the south part, right? I will again only search the north part. So with that, one bounding function will guide us, right, to explore my to search the search space and will reach at the goal to find the output. Right? That is called branch and bound technique. And basic searching and traversing techniques uses your BFS, breadth first search, DFS, depth first search. So those are different searching techniques in a graph or in a tree. Right? Tree, graph, all, I think everything you have already read in your discrete mathematics course. So these are different problems and these are different techniques. In this course, we will discuss one technique. Divide and conquer, dynamic programming, and some problems. So that with this, if you like one greedy technique, we may discuss Hoffman coding, Hoffman code. Right? So that is also one part of our course. All right. So this design phase, I am telling how these are the different techniques we will discuss. Right? Up to this, is it clear? Or any doubt you can ask. समझ में आ रहा है सबको?
Yes. Sir, do all the problems have algorithmic solutions or
Only
some don't?
computational problems. Only computational problems are the solution. There are many problems which are unsolvable problems. no algorithm exists? It's a very good question you asked. What's your name?
Sir Jatin.
Jati. Very good. So here there is assumption is that problem is solvable, right? There are many problems which are unsolvable. So if this is your Venn diagram is the set of all problems, then I can divide into this way. So one part is solvable and many problems are unsolvable. In fact, unsolvable problems are more than solvable problems. That's why intentionally I have given a smaller circle here and this is the bigger one. And algorithms are only for this part, right? This part it will be how to prove. This is one question. One can ask those questions. There is one specific course for that. That is called theory of computation. Okay. Algorithm is a part of that. Algorithm is only for this part. But in theory of computation, right? Whether again we are interested for one model. So who will solve? We are not interested to solve. Our machine will solve that. So based on which problem is solvable by a computer, it should be a computable problem, right? So one machine must be there. So this machine is the definition, okay? That is by Alan Turing. This is called Turing machine. So that is formally there's a definition that the problem which is solvable by Turing machine, that problem is called a Turing machine exists for that problem we call solvable problem. If Turing machine doesn't exist for a problem, that we call unsolvable problem. Okay, so this is a higher course, right? But in your language, if I will tell you, problems are of two categories. One is solvable problem, one other is unsolvable problem. Right? Again, solvable problems will divide into two ways. One easily solvable, one is hard. Right? If a problem is unsolvable, just leave that. That's we cannot do anything for those things. Right? I may give you one example. Whether God exists. Okay, solvable or unsolvable, that is a further name. It is called a decidable. It is called undecidable. Right? Problems are otherwise called language, because whatever problem, if it is a computational problem, computable problem, then using C, C++, Python, R, you can encode it. So language is an encoding version of a problem. Whatever problem is given to you, if you write you can always write in terms, right? Then only if you are 0-1 language, machine language, right? Then only a machine can accept it or reject it. Okay, directly what we are saying immediately you cannot give to the machine. You have to write in there in some language. You can encode it, then only you give to the machine, right? So everything will deal in terms of a language. You will define what is a language, what type of languages are there. That is actually your course theory of computation, right? Then this is, I will give you one of my video. You can just see what are the differences. It will be more clear, right? But for our course, we are only here, right? Whether God exists or not, that is problem is here. Some people will ask to two different groups. Some people will believe that yes, God exists. Some people will say no, it does not exist. So it's an undecidable problem. Okay. Another problem is a death knowing algorithm, right? Means can you develop one algorithm, or can you develop one Turing machine, or can you write a program, whatever, all are same. In whatever way you tell the same thing, same story, right? So your input is kya hai? What is your input? input is any person's information. Any person's information to give. It's biodata, it's date of birth, and it's any disease or whatever information you know, you give that. And your algorithm must give the exact timing of death of that person. Right? Exact timing of death of that person. That is called famous death knowing algorithm or death knowing problem. Can you write an algorithm or can you develop any machine which will exactly predict or exactly tell the exact death of that person? For it's a correct algorithm, means it should be valid for all such persons, whatever person you give. Or maybe a diseased person, maybe a good person, healthy person, whatever. For all persons, can you develop one algorithm? Right? So this particular problem, death knowing algorithm, is an undecidable problem. Right? So many problems are there, and to find a better idea that yes, undecidable problems are. Can you give an example? I have given 2 examples. Death knowing algorithm. Another is,
Sir, is weather report undecidable?
weather report.
Like from now, means tomorrow we can actually predict the weather report, but let's say 1 week from now, or maybe 10 years from now, can we predict what is going to happen to Earth's atmosphere? Is it undecidable or decidable?
You tell. Many problems are there. People are writing and telling weather prediction. So again, there might be a hard problem, right? There is a confusion between undecidable and hard problem. Hard problems are when solution exists, but it will take more time. It will take more time, right? Your processor,
sir,
that
there
many
any-
processors are required. Maybe not mean a single processor, maybe multiple processors you may use. Okay, but whatever, how many persons you can use, that's not an issue, but it should be solvable. Undecidable means
Yes.
whatever processor you use, how many machines you can use, how many persons you can give this task to solve this particular problem, but they should tell it is decidable or not. But for weather prediction, people are working, people are giving results. If it is undecidable, you cannot write any program.
Yes, sir, but I'm just saying, like, if we increase the time limit, like from 10 years from now, or like 1 year from now also, is it decidable or undecidable? Like, we don't know that the forest fire in Australia will take place. So, can we predict that?
No, yes, that is predict. That means what? You have to think of whether some algorithm exists or not, right? You have to tell some methods. People are solving those problems, but it is taking some time, and maybe with your processor, it may take say 2 years, but your requirement is to answer it in 1 year. After 1 year, you want some answer, but your machine will run for maybe more than 1 year to give you the answer, right? Suppose you
Yes,
want
sir.
tomorrow's prediction, but your whatever parameter you have passed to that system, you have written the program, and the parameters whatever you have passed, the images, different images you are giving to your program, but after processing, based on your computer speed, it is giving you the output after 5 days. But your requirement is tomorrow's weather prediction. If it is giving after 5 days your answer, then it is not useful. But it is a solvable problem, right? Solvable, but it is taking 5 days.
Yes, yes.
Are you getting? So solvable, but there are many problems which are undecidable, unsolvable. Okay, weather prediction is solvable. That's why people are writing programs and giving the answers. but we don't have that much of processors, that much of or the parameters. We may think of some other ways. So that is one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are other branches we will discuss: approximation algorithm, heuristic algorithms. May not be the exact answer. Sometimes we may, if it is very hard, we are managing with an approximation methods. Right here, all are solvable problems, but it is taking more time. That's why this further will divide. That is also in our course. Right. So this is coming under complexity theory, last part. How much it is time complexity and space complexity. This is called complexity theory. Hard, this is, if it is taking less time, it is easy problem. It is taking more time, this is called hard problem. Okay. So that part also we will discuss, P and NP. We will discuss, this is P problem, which are easy, and this is NP problem, non-deterministic polynomial, or it is taking exponential time. Those part we will discuss in the last analysis page. We'll discuss, not in the first class, we'll discuss this. But this is, these details, there is a specific course for that in your 5th semester. That name is called Theory of Computation, right? So it has 3 parts. One is automata theory, first machine you have to decide. Then computability theory. Then complexity theory. Different automata means machine theory. First Turing machine, finite automata, different machines we will discuss here. Then first you fix up the machine, your mathematical model, then you give that your problem. Then this is called whether it is solvable or not. That is called computable or not. Okay, it is otherwise called solvable or computable. Computable, solvable, decidable, or synonyms. It is not computable. Okay, or unsolvable or this. Then if it is solvable, then how much time it takes? It's complexity. It's easy or hard. It's a polynomial of order of n square, order of 2 to the power n. That those parts we will discuss here in the analysis page. That is in our course. Right? In the algorithm, we are not interested for this. This is not our your today's business. Our job is here. Only solvable problems. We will discuss whatever problems I have written here, all are solvable. Right? So for that, we will discuss many algorithms exist for one problem, and we will find the efficient algorithm. So we will discuss what is the meaning of efficient algorithm in the next class. Right? So whatever we have covered, just have a look in the first class. This algorithm word, right? It is, do you know where this word came? Previously, it was not in the dictionary, right? So it is from a Persian author's name. It's, right? His name is, do you know its name? Ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi. So Ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi. So al-Khwarizmi is from that name. This algorithms what came from, right? But the first algorithm is called Euclid's algorithm. This is my is treated as first algorithm, right? Another this starting algorithm book, if you find, that is by Donald Knuth. Knuth's algorithm. Donald Knuth. You find a book, algorithm book by Donald Knuth. Knuth's algorithm. Knuth's book algorithm. Ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi. There's a name. Khwarizmi. It's the This is called a grandfather of algorithms. Because is called father of algorithms. Right? This is the first algorithm. These are some information you should know, and different phases we have discussed: design phase, correctness phase, analysis phase. These are some qualitative aspects, right?
Excuse me, sir.
Ah,
So Euclid algorithm is the first algorithm.
yes,
So sir, why it's not a
some
name related to Euclid?
400 AD. Hmm?
Why
Which
it is
one?
an Al Musa something? Why he's
His
the
name.
father?
No, he is the person. This Al-Khwarizmi. The algorithm name came from this his title. Okay, he was working. He's a Persian author, mathematician. First book on mathematics he has written. Persian author. You can Google it. You can see his image, person's image. Hmm. And from this Al-Khwarizmi word, this algorithm was coined. Previous old dictionary, you will not find this word. Now it is a very popular word, commonly used word. Algorithm we all are familiar, but this is the history part, right? This is the person. This name came from this. He was also working in algebra, which you algebra also. He has done some work in algebra and algorithms. It's right. And actually, the definition, many advanced, many refinements are done, but the Turing, Alan Turing, he gave the exact definition of algorithm. Alan Turing, where we will find what is an algorithm, what is a decidable problem, what is an undecidable problem, right? So here, if a Turing machine exists for that problem, that is a decidable problem, and that we call an algorithm. Okay, so there are, or it will be more clear the exact definition part. Okay, when you will read this theory of computers, then there is a difference between algorithm and procedure. Procedure may terminate, may not terminate. This will only guide you. Okay, but algorithm, just to differentiate with procedure, procedure method means I will tell you, you read it in this way, you can solve. But you sometimes you may get the solution, may not uh, pass in your exam, right? But that is a procedure. That is one method I am telling you. If you read in this way, you can answer. You read different books, you can understand. Okay. Sometimes you may get the fruit, you may not get your output, right? But algorithm means always you give finally when it will you process it, the steps, these instructions, when you execute, finally you will get one output. Definite. It's a definite process. This is also set of instructions. Any other doubt? Okay, so the book which we will follow is written here, Coleman, right? This is your syllabus. You read the first chapter of this book, Thomas H. Coleman, Illustration Revised. It's called CLR, the book which you will be using. It's a very worldwide famous book, CLR. Coleman, Research Revised, the second one. Right? So this book we will be using, and for some, yes, this number 4, Harvij Sahani. This also I will use. Okay. So these two books I will mostly I will use this second. Okay. And some programs, some algorithms which I may use this reference number 4. Okay, 2 and 4 textbook. your and another is Harwich Shah. Right. So these two books will. Okay. So today try to read chapter 1 of this book, so that or you can use many internet to read different concepts of algorithm, because today is the first class. Again, we will discuss many other things. So you may read this Wikipedia information. What is an algorithm? Right. If you have the book, fine. Otherwise, you may read from this one also. Right? Just for information. Huh? This one, the name which this is the person's name, right? Persian mathematician Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi. This is the person. This person, right? Al-Khwarizmi, and formerly Al-Algorithm was a Persian polymath who produced vastly. Which you can see this one. From this, his Al-Khwarizmi. This is the title, right? Your algorithm name came from this one, and your give you what is first algorithm. Euclid's algorithm. Let me tell you his Euclidean algorithm. GCD 300 BC, right? And in the greatest common divisor, it's algorithm procedure for finding of two numbers. Greek mathematician Euclid in his Elements C 300 BC before Christ, right? So this is treated as my first algorithm. Anything you are asking? This is Euclidean algorithm. The CD of AB. Euclid. You are familiar, but I'm telling this. So I will give you another interpretation of Euclid's algorithm. A two cat and a monkey story. It is same as your Euclid's algorithm. Right? It's sometimes algorithm and fun. You can many game problem you can do. It is very interesting, because in daily life we are using algorithms. Sometimes from the beginning instructions, you do this one, then you do this thing, starting from your coffee machine preparation, tea making, or any type of uh, dish you are preparing. Then some instructions you are following. Finally, you are getting the output. Right? Some ingredients you are processing them, and you are getting the outputs. That is what that is the instructions. Or any people uh, in any game, some instructions are written. You have to do this. Then you go for some other activity. Then you, after some time, you complete this activity. Then you go for another activity. This is also some instructions. Step by step, you are doing. Finally, uh, you are getting your output. So every day you are using algorithms. Okay, so it can be read in many different ways. Okay, but in computer science we will discuss the particular of core algorithms everybody should know, so that when a complicated project you will handle, you can use these algorithms and you can combine them. You can develop a complex problem. You can solve a complex problem. Okay, so very the fundamental problems are there in our course. So we'll discuss them, we'll develop their algorithms, and we'll find their time complexity, and we'll prove that sometimes it is correct or not. Then in that process, you can understand this particular course. And finally, when everything is over, we will implement it. After developing the correct algorithm, the efficient algorithm, we will implement it using whatever programming language you have already read. You will try to implement, right? Okay, shall we close today, or anything you want to ask? Or Kajit, something you are
Sir,
saying?
hello.
Uh,
Yes, sir. I was asking that if you did the first algorithm in it was like 380 before Christ. So why
no, at
Al-Khwarizmi
that
got
time it
the
was at that no, no, at that time it was not in the name of algorithm. He has given some method to find the greatest common divisor, right? So GCD of AB, you know, GCD of A modulo B. But now we are thinking, yes, he has given the algorithm. At
so
that time
the
it was not.
formalization of
Formalization was after that.
oh okay.
So final formalization is by Alan Turing. When he developed Turing machine, that time onwards, we gave the formal definition of algorithm by Alan Turing. You can check Alan Turing. This is the Turing, Alan Turing. You must have read, you must have seen his video. It's one English movie is based on this Alan Turing.
The imitation game.
Yes. Right. Anything else? So that part again, that is there in your fifth semester. So you will again read that. So now these are only the history part. Anything else, or I'll stop it?